Hey everyone, I'm Sam. For those of you I've had class with before, it's nice to see you all again. For those of you I'm just meeting today, it's nice to meet you all. So to kind of begin on a brief intro of me, so I'm originally from the Worcester area in Mass, but now I live in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Funny story about that is for undergrad, I actually went to school in southern Maine. And when my dad dropped me off at college, he said, okay, I'm not picking you up. And then I've actually just kind of stayed here. I went home briefly in between the freshman and sophomore years of college, but otherwise I stayed up here working in a research lab, which is where I kind of got my first exposure to it, and that's currently what I do for a job. But for undergrad, I had a background in medical biology, med sciences, which is basically just pre-med classes essentially, because I desired to be a future physician. And then I also minored in Latin American studies, which is, my old university's equivalent of Spanish. That was the closest thing they had, and I took Spanish all through high school. I absolutely love the culture. I've been to Spain a couple of times, actually. Highly recommend if no one in the class has been. Obviously go when things are a lot safer to travel. But yeah, I did two study abroad-esque type programs. The first one that I did to go to Spain was when I was 16 and I lived with a host family for 2.5 weeks. So that's kind of where I got my first exposure of Spanish and the culture. And then I went again in college as a junior for 4 months where I also lived with a host family. So I had to pick up pretty quickly on my high school Spanish skills. But yeah, I did that stuff through college, and that's really where my passion for traveling came from. I've been to, I don't know how many countries now, like a lot of European ones. The one closest to Eastern Europe I've been to is Czech Republic. I recently went to Prague, about 2 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. And I've also been down to Ecuador, which is actually where I did a medical mission trip right after my senior year of college. And that's where I really got exposed into this type of public health field. And that's actually what drove me into this program. I provided access to a rural community called Ancancito, which is just this little port city down in Ecuador. It's beautiful. Everyone down there is so kind. The food is amazing. Like the fish is so fresh. But it was just great experience. And since the community with the diet that's down there, and they're very rural, like your typical esque type town like that, they have like a high diabetes rate, and we were really working with the community on understanding how to monitor their like blood sugar levels and different prevention methods, and doing those types of exams with them, especially BMI and things like that. So it was actually really cool to get that hands-on exposure, and it's really what drove me into this program, like I've already said. But that's just kind of a little bit about me. Like I said, I absolutely love traveling. It's one of my favorite things to do. I would like to travel more throughout the States, but again, when things are a lot safer. I also really like to go running or hiking. A little bit of extra information. I'm slowly working back up to running because I've had 2 extensive hip surgeries. I've torn my labrum in my hip not once but twice. So I've had that fixed a few times. So we're a little slow to getting back to being active. We're trying our best, that's for sure. I also absolutely love hanging out with friends and like just doing different fun trips like that. And my dad is my best friend, and he actually moved to North Carolina about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago. So I like to go down there a lot and hang out and see just everything that's down south, because I'm, you're a quote unquote northern girl. So, and I know most people are probably going to say it's really not southern, but to someone that's from Mass originally, it's a little bit different. But yeah, that's a little bit about like my personal life. And then when it comes to my job, like I said, in undergrad, I had a lot of exposure to research, and actually I slightly fell into the current position I'm in. So I did undergraduate research for 3 years at my university, and I was actually offered a position to stay there and work for a different professor. So now I no longer study like nerve regeneration and nerve growth. I now study dry eye and chronic pain in relation to that, and I'm a lab manager slash lab tech. So I kind of do little bit of everything in the lab, which gets super stressful, as one could possibly imagine, but it's really cool. I absolutely love science. I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to that. I'll fully own it. But all of it is essentially for my end goal of becoming a physician. I do want to work in rural healthcare, so I thought having the MPH background might actually be beneficial, just to learn more about how I can improve access to it and different social determinants of health. Like, I've learned so much in this program already. It's absolutely incredible, and I actually am trying to get an internship with Rural Healthcare Evaluation in Maine, and it deals with the Aunt Bertha platform. I'm not sure how many people are aware of it. I've actually just come across it for this internship. But a basic understanding that I have, which everyone can feel free to Google on their own too, for more specifics, it deals with the social determinants of health and access to healthcare that people in Maine suffer from. So it was really set originally in Western Maine because that's where a lot of the rural population is. So this platform is trying to figure out different resources that we can provide to the community, and it also pairs with clinicians to try to help them further too on what topics they could ask their patients, like different pieces they could be suffering from, like food insecurity or transportation, and just giving them those types of resources to hopefully improve that limited access to healthcare. And as a future physician, like, I just in general want to work with rural healthcare because I'm sure like everyone believes in this program. You know, everyone should have a right to healthcare, you know, basically. So that's just a smidge about me and my future life goals. But it's really nice to get to meet everyone. So I'm excited to get to know all of you guys and interact more throughout the semester. So I'll see you guys around.